Welcome back to Behind the Blind, brought to you by Tetra Hearing. Check them out online at tetrahearing.com. Thank you for watching. We appreciate all your support. Here in this episode of Behind the Blind, we are going to announce the winner of the case of shells brought to you, or the case of shells from Kent Cartridge. So we'll announce that a little bit later. But before we get to that, let's kind of wrap up our trip here in North Dakota for the early Canada goose season. We've had 9 years, I think we've been coming up here and doing this, and we've had many successful trips, and this just certainly was not one of them.
Probably the worst one out of all of them, right? we were trying to think back, and
we've had some bad ones before. First couple of years were pretty tough, but yeah, this year was tough, man.
It was just, I mean, and it wasn't for a lack of effort or anything like that. It was just early season geese, and we did all we could do, and it's just part of it.
And the thing about it was, I mean, we had good feeds every day.
Yeah.
I mean, we were finding birds, just not the right ones, I guess, and the season's been open, a week, 10 days about?
I was going to ask,
so like, you don't know if those birds have already been hunted. Maybe they've been hunted twice. I mean, we don't know, I mean, maybe that's why some of them were, acting a little sketchy. But just wasn't one of the better years goose killing numbers. I mean, I still had a blast, obviously, caught some fish, got to hang out with my homies, but definitely a slow year for goose killing numbers. But
I was going to ask Logan, based on how it all worked out, because, when we plan these trips months in advance, we're trying to hit the right dates with the weekends. And so that it makes sense. Obviously it's a Sunday right now. Is it any different this year than it has been in past years because of how the dates landed? Like, are we here a couple days earlier than normal?
No. So we've come over the years. So we've come right on the 15th when it opens. We've also come right in the middle of August, like right now. And then we've also come, what was that? 2 years ago, we came for dove season.
Yeah.
September 1st.
We were here through September 1st. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. We came up like the day before, and then
yeah, because the first was like on a Monday or a Tuesday.
Right. Because it doesn't close until when? The 15th of September? 22nd or 15th? Yeah. So, I mean, technically, we could come later, We just always make it early because the season opens, and it seems like it just kind of fizzles out, right?
Right.
I mean, even the local, obviously, there was a lot of locals out hunting today, obviously, which we'll get to that in a second. But, they're 75 to 100 bird feeds, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, money, effort to go and scout and do this and that. But no, I think, regardless of the dates, I think the crops have a lot to do it, and the hatch has
the weather.
Yeah, the hatch has a lot to do it. How long have those birds been flying, right? Because you're shooting a lot of young new birds. Sometimes, I'm trying to think. 5-6 years ago, we came right on the 15th, and some of those birds weren't even flying yet. They had a late hatch. So then the next year we're like, oh, we're going to push it back. Well, then, it's hard to say, what's right and what's wrong, but the crops are definitely behind. I think that for the most part, they were ahead all year long. And then 2 weeks, right when they're supposed to be getting pulled out, right before the season opened, they got the rain.
Catch a rain. Yeah.
Caught a rain, a couple times each the next 2 weeks. And then now you're 2 weeks behind. Right.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of stuff cut at all. I mean, they're in the fields today, I'm sure, but the least amount of barley, oats, wheat that we've seen cut up here in a while, at this time of the year.
So late hatch, late harvest. What was the other thing I was going to say? And the fact that they're early season geese. Oh, the weather being inconsistent.
Right.
You combine all those four things together, like it was going to be tough.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and it's always tough. It's not like this is a slam dunk easy hunt.
No.
We've been coming up here long enough now doing this episode and this hunt. We know coming into it, we're either going to get them or we're not. There's not going to be any in between. You know what I mean? Like, we're either going to have good, consistent 20, 30 bird days, or we're going to struggle like we did this year. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things that we've come to accept when it comes to this trip. It's like, man, we're going to get them or we're not.
Right.
And it's like back in the day, a lot of people had the understanding or misconception in their mind that it's just because it's a 15 bird limit, there's an opportunity to do so. I mean, that's really unrealistic.
Right.
Right. I mean, yes, you might have a couple days that you shoot 50, 60, 70,
right.
Maybe
But those are the days and the situations that are going to have to line up perfect, where they have
The stars are
consistent
gonna have to
weather.
align.
The hatch has to be it. The crops have to be out. Like it's already hard going into it. We had other circumstances that played against us.
For sure. And I mean, but it is what it is. It's
It
just
is.
the early season and part of it. And, this gets us going for the year.
Right.
Now we're off and running and we go to Canada and.
Well, before we talk about that, let's talk about what actually happened today, because that was interesting to say the least.
The prairie was busy this morning. A lot more crowded than it has been all week.
Right.
So
we hadn't, even though we've been talking about how this has been a struggle since we've been here, it wasn't like we've been skunked.
Right.
Until today.
Right.
And so, I don't know who wants to, Joe, I'll let you kind of go into it, but we basically didn't get to go to where we originally wanted to go this morning.
We had a couple options last night after the scout. We knew we had to have a plan B for sure, because the one feed was right off the highway and not far from town, and usually it wasn't posted.
And it's a weekend.
Right. It wasn't posted. It is Sunday. It's weekend. Guys are out. And so sure enough, we roll up to the first spot. We're about a mile out, and we can see truck and a trailer out in the field. And so we're like, all right, well, we do have a plan B, fortunately. We still have some time. Let's boogie up there, and we'll get set up. And lo and behold, we get up to plan B, and plan B turned out to be the exact same as plan A. So we were literally sitting there like scratching our heads. We're like, man, typically if A and B don't work, we
just go home and go to bed.
We pie back to the house and hang out. But this morning, we did have another option, a little backup. We'd seen
and it was fairly close.
It was close. Yeah. We were like, man, screw it. We were definitely not going to kill any at the cabin. So let's go set up real quick, which we did. We were actually set up in plenty of time, even though we were running so late. But yeah, plan A didn't pan out. Plan B didn't pan out. And plan C didn't end up panning out either. But hey, we were at least out there. We got close to shooting some geese. We called at a few. I tried to flag at a group. So like I said, it just,
we were really giving it to them.
By the way, I thought about putting a shell in my gun at one point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was an accomplishment.
But it is what it is, man. I mean, it's just, you're out at the end of the day, you're just out hunting, having fun. And even though we got screwed this morning, I still had fun. I mean, whatever, man.
Speaking of the flagging, you should check out on our Heartland Waterfowl YouTube channel in that particular hunt today. There is a YouTube short of Joe showing us all the proper basic techniques to flagging a goose.
Well, if you remember that group that I was flagging at during that little deal, they were coming. They started to come. They were a long ways out there. Long ways.
Do you know who you're talking to?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But I had them turn. That actually, that's funny too, because that group of geese in particular this morning, they flew 5 miles to end up landing a half a mile off the roost.
Yeah.
I was like, what are y'all even doing? Just flying around.
The 93 world champion would have got it.
Thank you very much.
Runner up.
Runner up in 93. I won Worlds in 94.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a special time in my life.
He would have hooked him.
Here we go.
He would have hooked him all day.
It's all right. Joe is a protege, and so everything he knows.
Up and comer.
Taught him everything he knows. He was a great student. I mean, he really did a good job
projected to win Worlds in 27.
No, I'm retired. Just
no,
like
I'm talking about Joe.
Yeah, you didn't get back into it.
Comer.
He never really shared
working with him.
He never really shared any interest in going down the competition circuit. Right. So there's some things that we need to work on.
He's really good with the right arm flutter, but the left arm flutter, he needs a little practice.
Yeah. Well, you really got to master being able to call with one hand and flag with the other.
There you go.
So
is that how you want it, Ronnie?
It's almost like being
No, I don't have any interest in goose calling because I got a couple of guys on the team that are really good at it. So I just take care of the flagging.
I don't know how you win Worlds without calling while flagging.
No,
because it's not a dual competition.
Yeah, it's just a visual.
Okay.
It's kind of like when you have the calling championships and they have the tandem, like the 2-man.
Yeah, the team calling.
Yeah. See that? I didn't ever enter anything like that.
2-man live duck.
Everett's more into the ribbon waving.
Everett is actually more into...
He's a jerk string guy.
I think Everett is more into living his inner Englishman. is what I think.
I don't see anything wrong
Charles?
with spending your
Yeah.
morning laying around
So,
jerking it.
You've probably, if you've been watching Heartland Waterfowl for a while, you know that we've referred to Everett as Rat or other nicknames like WWED, but he actually got a new nickname on this trip.
Charles.
And now he's Charles because he just gets into the field and starts bossing people around like he's got some sort of authority, of which he has none. And
Let's make that very clear.
Right.
Well, he's shooting the sophisticated
Well, that's
over
just
and
it.
under.
So we called him Charles in Charge, which was, also Charles was very fitting for the very sophisticated over and under that you were shooting this week. Did you even pull the trigger?
Yeah, I shot.
Did you? Okay.
I shot one goose.
So you
Three shells.
which
one
gun?
goose.
Which gun is that, by the way? It's a TriStar shotgun, and we've never had a TriStar over and under gun featured in any of our episodes or any
What do they
footage.
call it? Like the Trinities or something?
Trinity.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was the Trinity LT.
It's a sharp looking gun. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Yeah, the Carlson choke tubes on the end.
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah. So I mean, shoots 3-inch and all that stuff.
It fits
It's
you
fun.
well.
Yeah.
It fits you well, especially. if
And you
you're
look
wearing
like a Charles.
It'll be a fun gun.
You look
do.
like a Charles.
He's wearing a British flag on his hat.
Yeah. Charles.
Oh my gosh! How fitting is that? He's got the double T British slabs on there. Yeah. So this is all coming together, Charles.
Right.
How
Got
do
a
you-
British dog coming.
Yeah, you got a British
I mean,
dog. I mean,
Yeah. Man, you might as
You
well
got
just
an
move
over and
on.
under?
what's that hat you said I needed to
You
order
need
for a hunt for
You need
actual
your
hunting?
knickers. Your knickers. Get your
you
knickers.
need a tweed jacket.
Yeah, tweed
jacket and your
Yeah.
knickers. You'll be good.
Like you're
like
going
the
to.
like the diamond plated socks.
Yeah,
You know,
Like-
or is that more golf attire?
No, I mean Payne Stewart made it pretty popular, but
Shout out Payne Stewart, rest in peace.
Yeah.
RIP. But yeah,
How do you feel about the Charles name?
he doesn't like it.
No.
He doesn't. Tell me how you really feel.
Charles got thrown around a couple different times in a couple different ways.
Yeah. Well, guess what? It's yours now, and that maybe if you don't like it, you'll reconsider how you run your mouth earlier in the morning. In the morning when we're setting up. How about that?
Doubtful.
Doubtful.
Highly doubtful.
Yeah.
Charles will live forever.
I'll tell you, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind snatching up one of them over and unders for like a dove gun or something.
I think we're going to
like
bring one down to
20 gauge,
Texas for the quail hunt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So we'll let you shoot that down there.
yeah. The
Why have 3 when you can have 2?
oh man, it's funny. You're an idiot,
I thought I cut you
it's
off.
a fun gun.
Yeah.
I mean, different challenge.
right?
I thought I cut you off earlier. I didn't mean to.
Oh, I was just going to go back to what we were talking about earlier with the plan A, B, and C.
Mhm.
And as a scouting tip for people, that is something that is really, really overlooked. And sometimes it's, with what you're doing, it's not obviously necessary, but up here, or Saskatchewan, any place that has a lot of, freelance pressure around, you always have to have a plan B.
Yeah,
Plan B should not be going and setting up right next to the group that just beat you
Right.
to the field.
right, right.
So, and I look, everyone overlooks it. And you know that because the people that overlook it are the people that are coming into the field setting up next to you. Right. And
Yeah.
they're the ones that are upset that you're in their field that you also have permission on or beat them to. But in reality, the smart thing to do is just always have a backup option.
Right.
If you get beat to a field for whatever reason it may be, if that field's not a full section and you're not going on the other side of it, then move on down the road and go to your plan B. And,
Right.
Like we always say, plan C is
Typically go home.
Typically go back
But-
to bed, but not today.
No, not today. But like I said, either way, it didn't work out for us this morning, regardless. But still, if you hunt long enough and you're in an area that's very popular for waterfowl hunting, I mean, you're going to run into it. You're going to run into other guys watching your birds or whatever. But you just have to have the mindset like we're all out here for the same reason. We all just want to be out here, have fun, hang out with our friends, and hopefully shoot a couple birds while we're doing it. Like, there's no reason to get into fist fights and verbal arguments at field approaches at 5 a.m. Like,
now, if
it's
somebody's trespassing, that might be a little bit different, but yeah,
Right.
for sure. But up here, it's a
Right.
different story.
But yeah, I mean, if you're hunting an unposted field, or maybe the farmer's very generous on who he gives permission to, whatever. But there's literally no sense in sitting there arguing about it at 5 o'clock in the morning. Like Logan said, just have a plan B. It might not be a big feed, or it might not be the best option, but at least it's an option,
Right.
But it is what it is, man.
Cool.
You do it long enough, you you're definitely going to run into it. But.
Yep. So that wraps up our trip here in North Dakota, and then we have a little bit of time off before we go back out on the road. So, Sir Charles, what do you have going on before you start hunting again?
Bunch of real life crap.
Got to pay the bills.
Yeah, got to pay the bills. Got to swing the hammer, do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So give everybody
It's actually going to start getting a little bit busy. Number one, because of work, but number two, season's starting to come about, and we got to start getting things ready to go down at Tornado Alley and everything. We got some new things coming there, but we've also got the basics. We just got to get started with cleaning up the decoys. We got some farmers' fences we're going to go replace, and
all right.
gates and stuff like that, and it's just about that time.
Let people into your personal life a little bit. What do you do for work?
Self-employed, doing construction and remodeling.
Okay.
And stuff. So for
got some big
example,
projects.
You're doing a bunch of the work at that lodge for Brandon. And
yeah, we've done a lot of work down there for him and everything.
Right.
So, but we've got a bunch of.
What's your nickname for the new lodge?
Chateau de Everett.
Chateau de Rat.
Everybody come and check it out.
Chateau de Charles sounds much better.
Don't tell Brandon.
Oh,
though.
it's too late.
Don't tell
Brandon Mendoza. His name is Charles now. Refer to him, and you can call it Chateau de Charles.
Yeah, let's not.
I
start.
think Brandon's going to call it Tornado Alley.
Let's not start swapping nickname stories with Brandon.
Right.
What about you, Joe?
Oh man, I've dove season starts September 1st next weekend. Got a bunch of dove hunts coming up. I also have a lot of shit to get done. I need to do my trailer, my decoys, get everything organized to turn around and come back up here. And pretty much exactly a month. What is today? The 27th. Yeah, 1 month from today, I will either be right back in North Dakota or I'll definitely be on my way. Non-resident season opener is the September 30th this year. So yeah, I'll probably be up here like the 25th. But yeah, dove hunting's a big deal for us in West Texas, and we do a bunch of it through September. I mean, almost every afternoon we're out, chasing some dove around. But it's a nice little warm up for me too. Get the dogs out, get them whipped back in shape. It's it's a nice little start kick off to the real the heavy work in the fall. Going out and doing some dove hunts. But got to get the trailer all rigged up, ready to roll. Grease them bearings, check them tires, boys.
Check the lug nuts.
Anybody on the road this fall going on a hunting trip, pulling a trailer, check the grease bearing, check everything before you go.
Yeah. So if there's somebody who's listening to this particular episode for the first time and doesn't know your backstory, they may be curious as to why you're in Texas and coming back to North Dakota. So kind of give a quick little background on what all that is.
I live in West Texas. I've been guiding hunts in North Dakota since I was 18. This will be my 17th year guiding waterfowl hunts in North Dakota. But I've been in West Texas 10 years, but I still come up and work at the lodge, every fall.
Central Dakota Lodge.
Yeah, still come up here, work for 35, 40 days, running duck hunts and pheasant hunts with Cody and Nate Flynn, Cole, Travis Elliott, that whole crew. So, and that's one thing I like about coming on this trip too, because I'm up here a month early and I get to see, put actual eyes on duck numbers and watch some feeds and see, where there's water, where there's not water, do some crop scouting, stuff like that. And it's just a nice way to get started and come up here and, be up here on the prairie before I actually have to be here for an extended length of time.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I'm obviously looking forward to it, man. There is a ton of ducks we've been seeing driving around this week scouting, and I'm definitely looking forward to this season guiding. So, and
then the outfit in obviously West Texas is 5 Land and Holding, Roman numeral 5, V Land and Holding. Which is a proud sponsor of Heartland Waterfowl, and it's where we go crane hunting every January.
Hopefully the crane hunt will be a little bit better for us this year. It was a little tough last year. Been in a pretty bad drought, but we had some rains this spring, and if we can catch a couple more rains come October, November, we should have some roosts open for them birds whenever they get down there. So I'm hoping it's better than last year. So,
what's up, Logan? What about you? What you got when you get back? You still fishing?
Oh man, yeah. I run that fishing tournament every Thursday night on the local lake I live on. We get like 10, 15, 20 boats on Thursday night. That's fun. So yeah, we got that. That'll wrap up here in October. But no, I don't really have a whole lot till we go to Canada, hang out with the girls.
Nothing big professionally.
No.
Is it in your ammunition business or your insurance business? You want to dive into that a little bit?
So I just do insurance and specialize in the firearms and ammunition industry for product liability. And then I also have a ammunition company with a good buddy of mine, Chris. We specialize in tearing bad ammunition apart. So we have contracts with large ammunition manufacturers that the stuff that they can't sell to the general public due to quality control reasons, we tear it apart and destroy it for them. So, but yeah, that's just the typical work stuff. Steady Eddie. Gonna hang out with the girls.
Going back to be dad.
Yep, I got the girls out tubing for the first time this summer. Finally old enough to get them behind the boat, and they really like that. So I want to get a couple more runs of that in before the summer ends. But then after that, season's starting, and we'll be on the road.
Yeah, heading to Saskatchewan in October, which we were up here talking with Big Mike, Cody's dad, who's going to be up there as well, and having some conversation about things that we hear through the grapevine about what the snow goose hatch looks like, and talking to Tyrell about that. We're optimistic that maybe there was a pretty good snow goose hatch up there, and or obviously in the breeding grounds. And so hopefully by the time we get up there in October, we'll have a good opportunity to get on some snow geese.
Yeah. What about you, Ronnie?
Yeah,
what do you got?
What are you doing?
What do you got coming up?
You got
Let's
something
dive into your personal life a little bit.
Yeah, come on, Ronnie. Tell us more.
Yeah. What do you got going on the next 30 days?
Well,
40
something,
podcasts.
there's something big coming up, isn't there?
Yeah, I got rehab. I'm going to be doing that. Was trying to stay out of having to talk about that. No.
Ronnie's been waiting for this us to ask this whole time, so he can be like, "Guess where I'm
Come
going?
on, what's going on?
Guess where I'm going?
What's going on in about 2 weeks? Where are you going? Where are you going? What are you doing?
I was not doing that.
Come on.
I was not doing that.
He's been waiting to tell everybody all week. Where are you going? Tell
I'm going to go to Saskatchewan in October.
No, before that. I'm talking like 2 weeks.
Going to Montana for an elk hunt, an archery elk hunt. Yes.
Everyone's
Wapiti.
we have to go work. We got to go back to
Yeah.
do the daily grind.
Yeah.
I'm going elk hunting.
I'm going elk hunting. In one of the most prestigious places in North America.
Oh, it's so funny.
Speaking of which, after this, you need to get out there and shoot your bow.
I am. I'm going to get Dakota. We're going to go out there and film some B-roll with that. But Flat Willow Creek Outfitters, me and my best friend from Marysville, Kansas, who was the best man at my wedding. He was a childhood friend, Jake Slupionic. We're going to be heading up there. Nate Meyer's going to be filming him. Nate Meyer from Heartland Waterfowl, that is. And Dakota's going to be filming me. And we're hoping to create an episode or some sort of content for Heartland Bowhunter in the process of all that. So I'm super excited about that.
He finally fulfills his lifelong
That was my lifelong dream. Yeah. So this is my final season of Heartland Waterfowl. If I tag out,
I didn't tell you guys this, but yeah, I'm going full-time HB next year. If I shoot a 380 bull, I'll probably be full-time HB next year.
That's too funny. Anyway, so yeah, we got that coming up, and then I got 3 kids and 2 little boys who are 1 and 2, and so they're a lot of work, and just going back to be dad and do my marketing gig over at Dell's Power Sports and Dell's Honda Powerhouse, man.
Right.
And then just looking forward to getting up to Saskatchewan. I'm really excited to get
First
back
time
up
in
here.
a couple falls, right?
Yeah, since the pandemic,
Since
2019.
Yep.
But I will say that after being up here, and we kind of alluded to this earlier in I think the first episode of Behind the Blind a couple episodes ago, real excited to get back up here to North Dakota in November because I want to shoot some ducks.
Right.
And we will probably shoot some ducks when we're in Canada as well,
we
but
will.
that's not our primary focus. But
Right. I'm with you, baby. Mallards.
Yeah, you're gonna have some great duck hunts to start that season up here.
I hope so.
All right, so before we wrap this up, we need to congratulate the winner of the promotion that we did during our trip up here in North Dakota. And I'd love for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and then like and comment with all of our videos, because we're going to try to have something to give away with each trip that we do throughout the season from one of our sponsors. That being said, I would like to thank all of our sponsors who, whether you've been with us in the past or you came on with us at the last minute, and we're fast dashing trying to get things set up to get us product. First Light, Tangle Free, Lacrosse, you guys were awesome and trying to get us product before we left to get up here. And so we really appreciate your prompt attention to that in getting us this stuff. It's greatly appreciated. All right, so congratulations to
Dun, dun, dun.
Grant _ Connor.
Grant
Connor.
Grant _ Connor, who was engaging with all of our content while we were up here. You were selected at random to win the case of shotgun shells from Kent Cartridge. So congratulations. Comment on this video so that we can find a way to get in touch with you. That's one of the hard things about doing these promotions. Is that there's not a chance. There's no way of us sending you a direct message. So
slip into them DMs.
Charles is personally delivering the case of ammunition.
Oh,
what a guy.
Hand delivered by the Rat King himself. Huh?
The Rat King himself.
Wow. I wish I would have entered.
Anyway, so thanks guys for watching. We'll be back at this in October. So that first week of October, we'll be heading to Saskatchewan, and we've got several days up there. Hopefully we'll have some quality hunts for you, and we'll have a bunch of YouTube shorts to release before then. So for Everett, Charles Adkins, Joe Palumbo, Logan Burditt, I'm Ronnie Philips.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for watching Behind the Blind and supporting our Heartland Waterfowl YouTube channel.
We'll see you in Canada.
We'll see you in Canada.
Get me home. I'm sick of Ronnie.
Charles, get me a beer.